You're listening to Everybody Pulls the Tarp, the go-to podcast for high performers. I'm Andrew Moses. Each week, you'll hear my thought-provoking conversations with Olympians, pro athletes, CEOs, elite coaches, best-selling authors, and other high performers to uncover their secrets to success. Get ready to be inspired each week when we talk about leadership, teamwork, work ethic, and more. Are you ready? Let's go. This week, my guest is Jesse Cole. Jesse is the founder of Fans First Entertainment, where he owns and operates the world-famous Savannah Bananas and Banana Ball. The Savannah Bananas and Banana Ball have become a global phenomenon, and ABC News recently called the Bananas the greatest show in sports. Before I share my conversation with Jesse, let me tell you a little bit about the Bananas and Banana Ball. The Savannah Bananas are a professional baseball team in Savannah, Georgia, who play Banana Ball, a game invented by Jesse and his team that totally reimagines the game of baseball. For example, here are some of the rules of Banana Ball. A 2-hour time limit, no stepping out of the batter's box, no bunting, no walks, foul balls caught by fans are outs, and many more. And at Savannah Banana games, the entertainment never stops. There are players dancing to Taylor Swift, Morgan Wallen, and Mariah Carey. There are pre-pitch dances that have been viewed over 300 million times on TikTok. There's epic scoring celebrations, and the world's only dancing umpire and the Banana Nanas Senior Citizens Dance Team is also there. The Bananas have sold out every game. That's over 200 and counting now since their first season. And they've entertained millions of fans in Savannah, Georgia, and around the world. For Jesse and his team, the innovation never stops. They are fanatical about the fan experience and have a relentless passion to experiment and do things that the world has never seen. In our conversation, Jesse shared so many powerful ideas on innovation, creativity, risk-taking, and challenging the status quo. Jesse shared his system for coming up with 10 new ideas per day, how all of us can build an idea muscle. He also told me why he wears a yellow tuxedo daily, and how an experience as a 5-year-old with baseball legend Lee Smith completely changed his life. This episode is absolutely jam-packed with powerful ideas that we can all apply to our own lives, personally and professionally. Let me tell you, Jesse is truly one of a kind, and I can't wait for you to hear our conversation. So, let's pull the tarp and get straight to Jesse Cole. Jesse, where I want to begin, I want to understand, where did the idea for the Savannah Bananas and Banana Ball as we currently know it, because I know there's been a little bit of an evolution over a few years, where did that initially come from?
Well, I think it solely came from just putting ourselves in our fans' shoes. I mean, the initial idea, I was a baseball player, played my whole life, loved the game, played Division I baseball down in South Carolina at Wofford College. And then I went into coaching because everyone thought that's where you go. If you like baseball, you go into coaching. And I sat in the dugout in the Cape Cod League with the best players in the country, and the best seat in the house. And I was bored out of my mind. And I realized I knew what was going to happen. I knew the game. I understood it. And I was bored because there's a difference between playing and watching. And it was that moment, that aha moment, just like Walt Disney had when he was sitting in Griffith Park watching his 2 daughters on the carousel saying, I wish there was a place that adults and kids could have fun together. That was my aha that, hey, we got to change the game. We got to make it all about entertainment. It's not even just minor league baseball. We got to go all out. And I spent 10 years learning the ropes in Gastonia, a small little team in the Gastonia Grizzlies, North Carolina. And then I met my wife, a director of fun. We went down to Savannah, failed miserably for the first year. We're sleeping on an airbed, had to sell our house, but then went all in. And then even with selling out games, we saw fans leaving the ballpark early. And I said, we got to do more. We got to create a new game, a faster game, a more exciting game. And then that's how Banana Ball started. I think about 5-6 years ago was the first time we ever played it.
Jesse, you just mentioned that first year in Savannah. You said you failed miserably. What was most surprising to you? What was the biggest challenge in that first year of owning that team and operating that team?
Well, understanding context. So Savannah had minor league baseball for 90 years. So literally professional baseball. They had the New York Mets affiliate playing there before we came in 2015. And we were a college summer baseball team when we started. We're not professional like we are now. So we were just a college summer baseball team. So the lowest level of baseball. And people just expected that it would just be a lower level, less entertainment, less fun. And so we only sold a handful of tickets in our first few months. And we actually got a phone call that we were missed payroll. We were out of money. My wife and I had to sell our house, empty out our savings account. I mean, this is just 7.5, 8 years ago. And it was brutal because no one had experienced our vision. We had a vision to make baseball fun, nonstop entertainment. We had an idea of obviously the Banana Bananas, our senior citizen dance team, our break dancing coach, our banana band, our banana baby, nonstop promotions. We had all that, but no one had ever seen it. So we were just talking and talking and talking, and it was noise. And so we had to get people to that first game, and that was the key. And once they experienced what we call our fans first differentiator, and that's when everything started changing.
Was there one particular moment when you looked out into the stadium or you had a conversation with a fan that you knew that you were really onto something, that this might not just be a little bit successful, but that this would be such a massive success like it has become?
Well, I think there were a few moments. I mean, literally the opening night, we got a rain delay. And so it was 8:30 until we played. We were wearing green uniforms because we weren't quite ripe. So we were playing with all the banana puns. Like we went all out. We were doing all you can eat. So we said every single ticket is all inclusive. All your burgers, hot dogs, chicken sandwiches, soda, popcorn, dessert, everything for $15 total our first year. And there were no ticket fees, no convenience fees. People were waiting 3 hours to eat. We went through 10,000 pieces of meat in an hour. It was a disaster. But at 8:30 at night, when we finally started the game, I looked up and not one fan had left. People were in banana costumes. They were getting pelted with rain. The Banana Bananas were dancing in the rain. I was like, this is the start of something. And then later on, I think that season, a family came up to me, a husband and a wife and his 3 kids. And I said, did you come? They were like, we had a great time. I'm like, did you come into town for this? They're like, yeah, we drove 40 hours from Utah for this game. And we're driving 40 hours back tomorrow. And it was everything we ever hoped for. And I was like, I want to drive 40 minutes to go somewhere. You're driving 40 hours. And at a point, I realized that we started creating fans. And that was the game changer. We aren't trying to chase customers or bring in revenue. We were trying to create fans. And that's when everything started to change.
See, I've heard you talk about the idea and read about you talking about the idea, lifelong fans as opposed to short-term profits.
Yes.
And that is easier said than done. And it doesn't just apply to Banana Ball and the Savannah Bananas. Anybody listening can apply that philosophy to their own business, their own organization. I'm curious, I mean, it's easier said than done. What were some of the things that you guys did in particular early on to make sure that was going to permeate through everything that Banana Ball does?
Well, I was fortunate. I think it's all where you came from and your background. When I started with the Gastonia team in North Carolina, there was $268 in the bank account my first day. There were 3 full-time employees on payroll, and they were getting paid on Friday. I couldn't pay myself the first 3.5 months. Luckily, I saved a little bit in college. I had $300 rent. I had my car paid off, a cheap little old car. So I was living on nothing. So I learned that. So then when I went to Savannah, me and my wife, it's like, all right, we were grocery shopping with just $30 a week. When we were sleeping on an airbed, we had a $20 bill and $10 bill, and we would go into Walmart. We wouldn't want to use a credit card because we don't have debt, so we went with $30, and that was all that we had for the week. So we learned that if we could be okay like this, again, we had just got married. Talk about a start to a marriage. Sorry, I think we've made up for it now, but that's how it started. So we started realizing like, all right, hey, we can get through this. And if we can get through this, we just got to believe. And I think the key is to keep playing the game. So many people quit. We had a real strong vision of what fans first look like, of what the experience could look like. We were going to make baseball fun every step of the way. We were going to be fans first. We're going to entertain always. We had that vision. We just had to get them to experience it. So it was just belief. And I think now when you look at our organization, I think they understand that, hey, we'll struggle. We'll get through the messy to get to the great. We don't have all the answers, but we're going to keep experimenting, keep trying things to do new things for our fans. We're going to do the unscalable to do the scalable. I mean, every fan that bought a ticket the first 5 years, we called and thanked them. That was 100,000 plus fans a year. We would call and thank. We called everyone that bought merchandise and thanked them. We did the unscalable to do the scalable. Everything was about creating a fan. And you look at Taylor Swift, you look at Grateful Dead, you look at some of the groups that have the biggest fans in the world. They did the exact same thing. We were just following a blueprint of some people that create the most fans, but we weren't following the blueprint of sports teams. We weren't looking at anything that sports teams were doing. We look at outside the industry.
Yeah, that's interesting, Jesse. I'm reminded of a business case study that's become pretty popular over the years, and it's a Southwest Airlines case study. And at one point in their trajectory, they were looking to figure out how to turn around planes faster. And an executive on their management team said, all right, let's talk to some folks in our network at other airlines. And somebody said, no, we're not going to talk to people at other airlines because they don't do this well. We're going to talk to people who turn around vehicles faster than anybody else on the planet. We're going to talk to NASCAR pit crews. And that's what they did. And that's where Southwest kind of went on their journey. and becoming kind of known for what they're known for today. I'm curious, when you talk about principles like doing things that don't scale and going outside of your industry for answers, where did you get some of your inspiration? I know folks like Walt Disney and P.T. Barnum, these are folks that have influenced you. What are some of the other inspirations and influences for you?
Yeah, so I'm looking right past the screen right here. I've got a giant bookshelf with probably about 1,000 books. And so I didn't enjoy learning in school. As soon as I was forced to learn outside of school with no money, no skills, I became obsessed with it. And so for me, I learned the most from innovators. So I've read every single book there is on Amazon and Jeff Bezos. I've read every book there is on Steve Jobs and Apple. I've read about Saturday Night Live. I've read about anybody doing things really unique and creative. And I go extremely deep. Like there's not many books on Cirque du Soleil, but I've read every one I can find. I've read every case study I could find. And so for me, it's a hunger. It's a hunger to figure out how to do things that are dramatically different. And it's driven me, it's driven us, and it's more fun that way. I get bored very easily. I get bored if we're doing the same thing. And that's why every night we're doing 10 to 15 things we've never done before in front of a live crowd. You mentioned Southwest Airlines a second ago. I learned a ton from them. That was our first book we read as a staff, was Nuts. A great book, obviously, about the origins of Southwest. And I read a story that Herb Kelleher, he was interviewed by a business reporter about 3 years into Southwest Airlines. He said, "What is your business strategy?" And he said, "It's called doing things." And as simple and as that is, that mindset of you learn by doing. When we went into Greenfield Village, me and our president, Henry Ford, and we saw there was a plaque of Henry Ford's green. It said, "Henry believed in learning by doing." And that's everything. We read a little bit and then we start doing and testing those experiments and we learn faster. And that's part of our whole ethos. That's what we do. That's what we challenge our team to do, our players, everyone in our cast. Hey, what more things can we try today so we can learn faster than anybody else?
Read about it and then go do it. So Jesse, I'm curious, the ideas that you all come up with are seemingly endless, but I've seen you talk about kind of systematic things that you do on a daily basis to keep ideas flowing. And that's where I want to go next. What are some of the things that you do specifically to not only keep ideas flowing in your mind, but facilitate kind of ideation amongst your team and your cast, as you say? Because 10 to 15 new things a night, that requires a lot of creativity and constantly challenging the current.
It's a ton of work and it's tiring. When you get 80 games into a tour and you're trying to come up with 1,000 new idea of the year, it's not easy. It's not easy, but it's worth it. And so, yeah, for me, again, just learning from the outside. When we played ball, we had to work out every day. I was a pitcher, so we had to run. And, now I'm a runner. I run every single day. It is absolute habit. If I don't run, something's off in my body. It's like some people say, I got to drink my coffee. Like I'm the same with running. And so I learned if you want to really build the muscles to be a good runner, or build the muscles to be a good weightlifter, you have to do it every single day. And if you want to have good ideas, you got to work your idea muscle. And so for me, I started in 2017, 2018. I was like, we need more ideas. It's not fresh enough. When people ask you what's new this year and you don't have a good answer, you're in trouble. And that's for any business. That's for anybody. So I said, all right, I'm going to start doing 10 ideas a day. At the beginning, it was really tough because I was like, all right, let's think of 10 ideas. And then again, quantity leads to quality. The more you do, the better you get. And so I said, all right, I just need buckets. And so this was the game changer for me. I would say, what is a bucket of an idea? So to give you an idea, what is a scoring celebrations the players can do? What is merchandise ideas? What is a pitcher strikeout celebration? What is a walk-up? What is a dance they can do? What's a new character for this next year? What's something for the party animals theme? And I just started writing down solely buckets every single day and then 10 ideas. And I brought this to our team. And then we started doing idea paloozas where we would actually get the whole team together and we would have a main bucket or a main question, like what would get fans to want to stay till the end of the game? We'd have to solve an actual question. And then I had our creative team watch Saturday Night Live documentary about James Franco that he talks about a whole week. And the first day, everyone pitches ideas to the host and to Lorne Michaels. Then they start writing. Then they do a table read on Wednesday. Then they start preparing for rehearsals. Then on Saturday, they do a rehearsal. And then they do one at 8 in front of people. And then they cut things out. Then at 11:30, they actually go on. We set the same exact schedule for coming up with ideas every single week, the Saturday Night Live to our OTT. And so OTT over the top ideas. So I'm throwing a lot at you, but it's all evolving. It's all plussing. And so now our team is constantly coming up with ideas and it's become an idea factory that keeps us growing.
Idea factory that keeps you growing. Jesse, so I'm curious, what does the discussion look like inside the walls of of your offices when you're thinking through these ideas? You talked about plussing ideas. Take me into that. Like, how are you guys debating? How are these things going to work? How we're going to continue kind of building upon them?
So when we look at our script and we look at a script in a given night, and we have them, pink things are new things to the party animals, yellow things are new for the bananas, green or could go either way depending on what happens in the game. And then we have new promotions. Every night we have to do at least one new promotion, and they're crazy. I mean, the living piñata, from like the pregnant dance-off, women in their third trimester. I mean, we do wild things. The soccer mom race, which always ended up with injuries. We had to stop doing that. There's a horse head race. So we'll have like different race categories: senior citizen promotions, hunk promotions, young guy promotions, kids promotions. And what happens, I have it printed out, and so does our staff. And we watch, and I watch as much the fans as I do the promotion and watch the reactions. Are people cheering? Are they laughing? Are they putting up their phones to film? Or are they not paying attention? And then after the game, me and our director of entertainment do a lap or two or three and say, all right, we go through the whole script. All right, how do we make that better? Sound didn't hit the right point. The wrong contestants. The contestants weren't right. They weren't there early. What would we do to plus that? Is that even an A promotion? Is that best going to be a C? Let's cut it. And we'll go through every single promotion, every single thing. So the next night, we're better and better and better. And so it's a constant iteration, innovation, iteration, and just keep getting better. And I wish, we're still learning the process, but it's plus. We look at our pre-show. What are we doing on the stage before? What worked well? What did the crowd react to? What do they don't? What are we new that they're going to try new next time? You don't just plus everything. You have to do new things, so then you continue to get better on those as well.
When are you doing those debriefs? You're doing those, you said, like right after? Are you doing it the next morning? When are those debriefs happening?
Yeah, so we'll have the game will finish at 9, 2-hour game. Then we'll have an hour plaza party. Then afterwards, before we have our final Fans First staff chat that night, I'll usually walk and touch base with Zach, or we'll touch base during dinner and we'll go through it. And then the next morning, I'll meet with our sound person, our DJ, our announcer, say, hey, when you were playing Taylor Swift in the fourth inning, do more of that. Taylor Swift is a winner. Keep playing Taylor Swift. Like there's certain notes that we'll go over with that. And I'm constantly saying, what does the crowd react to? And I'm not the only one that does it. Zach's doing it. We're all doing it. Hey, that worked really well. We talk in comms. Let's do more of that. So it's ongoing. It's not like a set process. We will talk after the night. We'll talk the next morning while we're having rehearsals. We do 2 hours of rehearsals every single day. We'll spend time actually going through rehearsals and saying, let's fix this. Let's adjust this. Let's edit this. Let's film it. Let's do it again.
Jesse, so obviously, like, to scale anything, you have to surround yourself with great people. There's no question that you've done that. You've built an incredible culture. I'm curious if there were 2 or 3 attributes that you're looking for, whether it's a player that you're going to bring in, whether it's somebody on your staff that you're going to bring in, your game day operations staff. What are like 2? I'm sure there's a lot, but like, what are 2 or 3 attributes that are like must have for Jesse Cole?
You won't fit in our organization if you're not positive. If you are not positive, if you complain, like if we hear one person complain, it's almost like a record screech, that just doesn't happen in our organization. I know it sounds like, how is that possible? It's just because we try to build a culture filled with energy. You have to be an energy giver. So you got to be positive. You got to be an energy giver. When you come into a room, are you bringing energy or taking energy down? Because we demand so much out of ourselves for our fans. We can't have people taking away energy. We can't have people bringing negativity. And so that's why any person that applies with us, we do a video. I mean, they have to do a video cover letter. I'll tell right away, if you can't in 10, 20, 40 seconds send a video and have energy, you're probably not going to work in our organization. And they were like, well, what about introverts? There are places for introverts, but introverts got to be so filled with positivity that overcomes their not high energy. And so that's number one. And then basically a willingness to be able to try new things, a willingness to experiment, a willingness to take constructive criticism. If we start saying, hey, there are areas to plus this, and you immediately get defensive, it's going to be tough because that's not showing a growing personality. So we need people that are humble enough that can understand that, hey, we're all learning, we're all growing. And I'll tell people themselves, like, hey, challenge me. We had an intern once. He said, Jesse, he came up to me after I was talking to a fan. He goes, hey, I know you were getting ready to go something else, but a fan came in and talked to you and your body language was faced the other way and it wasn't directly towards them. Your body language wasn't fans first. And you're right. Thank you, Barry. You were right. I was not fans first. And you have to be able to hold that and say, you know what? We need to hold each other accountable to be fans first. We have to hold each other accountable to try new things and experiment. We have to hold each other accountable to bring energy. So those are the things we look for.
Incredibly powerful, Jesse. And it says, I know you're a humble guy, but it says a lot about you. That's that someone feels comfortable walking over to you and say, hey, Jesse, that wasn't fans first. We've got to do things a little differently. And it says a lot about you that you took it that way. And everybody brings that growth mindset, and you lead by example. Leading by example is something I'm so passionate about. You and I have talked about this. This podcast is called Everybody Pulls the Tarp. And just like complaining is like nails on a chalkboard for all of you at the Savannah Bananas and Banana Ball, when someone says that's not my job, that is like nails on a chalkboard for me. And it all goes back to a summer that I worked in minor league baseball, that everything was in the job description. Pulling the tarp with the grounds crew, dressing as the mascot, cleaning fireworks debris in center field, driving players to the airport. I did it all. You and your team are doing it all. How do you think about leading by example and modeling the behaviors that you want others on your team to exemplify?
Well, I think the best example of this is my wife, Emily. I know you've talked about me, and I appreciate that. And yes, I'm more the crazy guy in the yellow tuxedo, but my wife, Emily, is the heart of this team. And she has embodied that since day one. Our coach shares, when our coach gets to speak in front of groups, he took a picture. It was one of our last games, and the grounds crew couldn't get out there early. And so Emily is out behind shortstop in left field with scissors, cutting some of the weeds that got high. She's out there for an hour and a half cutting with her hands every single week. I was trying to tell you, there's probably a better way, but she was out there. That wasn't her job, but she wanted to look good for the players. She wanted to look good for the fans. She said, this is unacceptable. And so she went out and did there. I mean, when we were pregnant with our first kid, she was out there picking up all the trash, and they were like, Jesse, you are the most helpful we've ever seen you. That's how they actually knew Emily was pregnant, because normally, our first 3 years, I did the trash everywhere, but I'm off, and then I usually wait and meet with the fans until the last fan leaves. So my job is to interact with the fans. So I was getting out there early, watching out for Emily. And, again, I think she embodies it tremendously. We all try to do things to help. We're the last ones there, the first ones there, last ones to leave. And I think it's just something that we know most owners don't do that. We know most owners, they show up, they sit in their box, they watch, and they tell what needs to be done. They don't actually do it. If you can't, anything from this just 20 minutes we're talking, it's like, you got to do it. You got to just start doing. You got to do and then learn, and you got to do from the top. You can't just tell. You can't just share. You got to actually be a part of the experience. And that's just part of who we are. And it's fun. If I'm not on the field, a part of these promotions, I'm still hosting. I'm 16 years, I'm still on the field because I get to feel it. I get to be on the field and know, did this work or did this not work? I get to be on the mic in front of the fans and know, did this work, did this not work? And it set an example for everyone else. Like, that's my best role in this team, to be doing it. And Emily's best role is on behind the scenes to making sure everyone's taken care of. And we never walk past trash. If you see us walk past trash, something bad happened, we must have missed it, because we always pick up trash, because everyone is a janitor on our staff. And we can't expect our team to pick up if they don't see us, even when we're talking to fans, to dip down and pick up a piece of trash at someone else's ballpark. Because now we're even playing at other ballparks. That is what we're supposed to do. And so it's just part of our DNA.
Part of your DNA. And you mentioned the yellow tuxedo. I'm looking at you, Jesse. You've got the yellow tuxedo, the yellow top hat. I know that the yellow tuxedo has important meaning to you and Fan First Entertainment and Banana Ball. And essentially, my understanding is that it means that standing out is powerful. Now, tell me, am I taking away the right thing from the yellow tuxedo? Standing out is powerful, doing something unexpected, standing out from the crowd. Is that the origin?
Yeah, well, when it first started, it was the idea, everyone was wearing polos, and you'd be on the field, you look like everyone else. And just learning from P.T. Barnum, if I'm going to try to put on a show, I can't look like everyone else, because we're not just trying to do a mini promotion. We're trying to put on a full show, and we want to create the greatest show in sports. So I took inspiration from P.T. Barnum to put it on. As I began to wear that, and I didn't wear it night in, night out, I realized something. When I played baseball, and there's a difference between when you're practicing in shorts and a t-shirt, and then when you put on your uniform. When you put on your uniform, it's game time. There's a different level of intensity, different level of expectation, a different standard that you have. So when I started putting on this yellow tuxedo, I held myself to that same standard. This was my uniform. And when I put it on, it's showtime. And I think everyone might have something that you can put on that hey, I'm going to take it to another level right now. And that helped. And I think from that point on, it has also given our team permission to have fun, permission to not take themselves too seriously. If your owner is in a full yellow tuxedo having fun, why can't you put on something fun and just interact with the fans? Why do you got to try to be professional, which I think no one's ever gone home and said, honey, I met the most professional person today. No, they want unique, they want fun, they want different. And I hope as the owner of the team, this is what I wear. This embodies me. This is the best version of myself, that it gives other people the permission to be their best version of themselves and amplify themselves to stand out.
Why do you think some people are afraid to stand out?
Oh, it's scary. It's outrageously scary. I mean, because you're going to be misunderstood. Jeff Bezos says this, you need to be willing to be misunderstood. And what we share around our staff all the time is if you're not getting criticized, you're playing it too safe. The criticism I've taken or I've heard from this yellow tux, you're just an attention hungry, it's a circus, you're a joke, all this. I mean, it's noise to me now. I don't even pay attention to it. But if you stand out, you're doing something other people won't do. So the people that won't do it, the only thing they have to do is then criticize it. And so people are afraid of it. And again, the thing is, I think standing out just for standing out purposes is not, you need to amplify yourself. So again, 99.9% of people should never wear a yellow tuxedo. But if there's another version to say, you know what, this part of me is like a high version of myself, I'm going to push that over the limit. Then go out and do it. And you're going to get criticized, but your world's going to open up. You're going to have more opportunities than you ever imagined because you're doing something someone else won't do.
Jesse, I'm curious. You talked about some of the criticism. No matter how successful you are, there's always somebody who thinks they could do it better or thinks you're doing something wrong. I'm curious, with all the success that you're having, what is the biggest challenge in your mind today for Banana Ball?
People think we're the Harlem Globetrotters. So I'll elaborate that most people would think that's not a challenge. For us, they see us as just a circus show game. People don't zoom out and realize we're building the game of Banana Ball. There was over 600 trick plays this past year. Guys catching the ball, doing backflips. 70% of our pitchers throw 90 to 95 miles an hour. We have first round picks, pro guys. The level of Banana Ball is unbelievable. But people think it's just a show. It's just a circus. We're building validity. And when people think that, you can only go once. Nope. We're doing 10 to 15 things you've never seen before. And our players are doing things you've never seen before every night. This is something that you can really latch onto. This is going to be a sport that I think is going to make an impact on millions all over the world. And the criticism that, again, we're misunderstood, it's just a one-off circus. You can see it once. That hurts me. So I'm going to continue to build it to make sure people can travel around the world like the Deadheads and Grateful Dead and follow them and say, I'm going to see every single show because it's going to wow me every night. And I'm going to see some unbelievably amazing things.
What are some of the things that you can do to build that validity? Are there specific things that you have in your mind that you say, hey, if we do this and this and this over a long horizon of time, people will believe? Like, talk to me about that.
Yeah, well, again, people see us on TikTok. They see the dances. They see the circus. That's how we get attention. We do those crazy things and it gets millions of views. And we're very fortunate to have more followers than every Major League Baseball team and more than a lot of NFL teams. And it's because of those that's how the attention spans work. But if you watch a whole game and you'll see, wow, there were 14 trick plays today. A pitcher struck out a guy in 10 seconds, 5 seconds faster than what they're supposed to throw a ball in Major League Baseball. There was an inning that was 57 seconds this year. We've had 50, 100 plus innings under 2 minutes. The showdowns, fans catching foul balls to win a game that happened this year. We had 60 fan caught foul balls. One 15-year-old caught one to win a game. These are things you'll never, ever, ever see in any other sport or anything even kind of comparable to the same level of fan engagement and talent level. I mean, we have 2 center fielders that can catch the ball doing backflips in the middle of the air. And so it's just watching it more. It's us continuing to promote the athleticism, promote this uniqueness of what they're doing. And it takes time. Time is the great equalizer. It takes time. Anything. I can't imagine in 2-3 years when people start seeing, wow, yeah, we've been doing that for 5 years, but it just finally takes hold.
So, Jesse, then I've got to believe that the recent moment in Cooperstown, New York, at the National Baseball Hall of Fame to wrap up the 2023 World Tour was a special moment for you to see Banana Ball recognized in Cooperstown, see artifacts on display. But take me into that moment, like paint that scene for me. What did that look and feel like for you?
Well, the first moment was a phone call from the president of the Baseball Hall of Fame and saying, Jesse, just want to get in touch with you. We can't ignore the bananas anymore. I go, oh, that's nice. He goes, so we want to put you in the Hall of Fame. I'm like, what? And then we talked more and we said, we'd love to do a game where you guys could play there. And we have a huge exhibit. And they wanted my top hat and my idea books and our jerseys and our kilts. And, we first came up with Banana Ball and a huge exhibit. And when they welcomed me there, I got welcomed by Lee Smith, the Hall of Famer. And he was the person that gave me my first fans first moment when I was a 5-year-old bat boy for the Red Sox. He was the first person that sat next to me in the dugout. And I have a picture of me as a 5-year-old with Lee. And then he greeted me, and to have hundreds of people, fans from all over the country there. It was emotional. When I said the Savannah Bananas are in the Hall of Fame to everyone, I broke up. I was getting teary-eyed. My dad was there, my family, everyone. Because you're right, we haven't been taken that serious, but to be taken that serious and to see that the Baseball Hall of Fame recognizes what we've done for the game in such a short time meant the world. And then, just a few weeks later, to announce that we were going to Fenway Park and 5 other major league stadiums. And it's a dream come true. And the crazy thing is, what I realize is, amazing as it is, we're still in the first inning. And I tell our team that every day. We're still in the first inning, guys. We're just getting started. I think that's what drives us, because we know of a much bigger impact we can make.
Still in the first inning. Jesse, I've got to double click there. I'm curious, when you think about that moment that you had as a child with Lee Smith, the legendary Lee Smith, what do you remember most about that moment?
Well, I was a shy, introverted 5-year-old kid at that point. I was an only child. My parents were divorced. My dad was raising me, and I was in the dugout by myself, and there was no one talking to me. And then Lee came over, big Lee Smith, strong, sat next to me and started talking to me. And my dad captured a picture of me. He spent 10, 15 minutes in the pregame talking to me. And that literally was my first fans first moment. And it was that moment that I became a Red Sox fan. It was that moment that I fell in love with the game of baseball. It was that little moment that changed everything for me. And that's why we tell everyone on our staff, every game is someone's first game. You never know the impact you can make. And I try to share that with our team, because that one impact changed everything for me. And now I think we have the opportunity to change that for so many people around the world.
Jesse, it's such an important message that you have, such an amazing story that, like you said, is just in the first inning. I tell people all the time, my dad taught me to read with baseball cards. I'll never forget one of my parents' friends coming home with a baseball signed by Bobby Ojeda of the New York Mets. And it sat atop my shelf. And there's moments that you just never forget at a ballpark, all the way up to my teenage years, playing in a charity event with Cal Ripken sitting next to me.
Yeah.
You never forget these moments. And I know that you and your entire team are going to create millions of moments just like that one that 5-year-old Jesse Cole had with Lee Smith so many years ago. Jesse, I have enjoyed our conversation so much. I wish you all the continued success. I know I'm a fan of Banana Ball, and I can't wait to see you all in action one of these days. All right. Thank you so much. There's no question you're a tarp puller, Jesse Cole. Thanks for spending some time with me this week. All right, my friend?
That was a lot of fun. Thank you so much, man.
Thank you for joining me this week. Be sure to subscribe in your favorite podcast app so you can catch all of our upcoming episodes. And if you are like me and want a world full of tarp pullers, then leave a review to help others find us. You can also follow me on Twitter at Andrew H. Moses. That's Andrew H. Moses. And be sure to sign up for my email newsletter at everybodypullsthetarp.com/newsletter. I'll share tips and insights to help you achieve maximum success and happiness. Today is a great day to pull the tarp. I am rooting for you. See you next time.